What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League podcast. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Amanda, the co-host, back on. Amanda, can we stop tying every week in our picks? I had you last week, and then Jake
It
Babe.
came down to the wire. Like you swept me the first two, the third one I thought I had, and then that Lions game I was like, you're right. I'm two picks down now. It's fine. Like my 12 game lead drops to 10, and then ooh, Detroit coming through. That was
I
good.
just can't gain any ground. Hugh, great to have you on. Hugh, you beat us last week in the picks. You're starting to do better as well.
Well, it took a little time. I had to really just wire in and try to get it done. But at the same time, you guys are so good at what you do. These games have been just fantastic over the last several weeks, and they're only going to get better.
Yeah,
It's been a
can't wait.
wild NFL season. A lot of
Hmm.
crazy games so far.
Yeah, can't wait to talk about these games. And let's start with last night's game. A great game, battle for first place in the NFC East. The 7-3 Commanders at the 7-2 Eagles. And Hugh, the Eagles. I mean, Saquon Barkley, such a great addition to that team. And he might, kind of start off slow in the first half. In the second half, he gets going, and he went crazy last night.
No, he did. He showed why he was drafted where he was drafted. New York, when you think of them letting him go, within the division.
Can't
That
believe it.
just that's just amazing to me. And he's playing extremely good football for them. But I got to give a lot of credit to their defense too.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Jaden was a little banged up, but he didn't play as well as he could play. They hit him, they battered him last night and they got after him. And so Washington looked like they have a good team, but Philadelphia has a superior team. So just interesting.
I had a friend over for the game last night, and his family came over and stuff, and we were talking about it. And the Commanders are a good team, but if you look at the average ages of these offenses and defenses, I think he and I both agreed on this that the Commanders are going to be where the Eagles are at in 3 years. Like the Eagles
Mhm.
just have the seasoned vets. They're like this isn't anything new to them. The Commanders are so young and they've got a ton of talent. So I see them being this reliable kind of in the trenches team like the Eagles are about 3 years from now.
Yeah, if they hit their picks, get some young guys in there. Yeah, I agree. They're, maybe even a year or two away. We'll see how Jaden Daniels continues to progress. Hugh, I loved the Eagles' rookie corners, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. And Quinyon Mitchell really shut down Terry McLaurin last night. One catch for 10 yards.
Well, that's Vic Fangio as well. I got to
Yeah.
give him a lot of credit. The old head, the old defensive coordinator really did a great job of putting a plan together. But obviously, that's a very talented young corner. They got a couple of them that are really good players in their secondary, and they took the challenge and had a heck of a football game.
Yeah, and Cooper
Yeah.
DeJean is amazing. He was such a good
Hmm.
Yeah.
draft pickup for them. He fits so well into their system. So I just really like what they've done the last couple of years with the talent they've brought in.
And then Amanda, me personally, I'm happy that all this talk about we don't pay running backs aren't valuable, blah blah blah. This year's really putting an end to all that talk.
I think last year put an end to it, and this year no one can say anything.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a couple times. Like the Detroit won on the backs of their running backs. That sounded weird. But like
Mhm.
that they carried them through their first successful season in a long time. I think the conversation coming off of this season is going to be about kickers and accuracy because have we ever seen this many missed kicks in a season? Because
Yeah.
what the hell is going on? Jake Elliott hasn't been released yet, right? Like I've been waiting for that news. He had a rough day. Oh my God.
Yeah, they said they're gonna ride with him, that they trust Jake Elliott, but yeah, he had a shaky game. And Hugh, real quick, what do you think of the Commanders are trailing 12-10. They've got let me pull this up here. They're where's it at? They're trailing 12-10. It's 4th and 2 at the Eagles 26. You kick a field goal there, you take the lead. I think you always, in my opinion, I always want to take the lead. I didn't really get going for it there on that 4th and 2. What did you think of that decision by Dan Quinn?
Well, I think you look back on it and say, boy, you wish you would have took the points, but analytics say go for it. In
Yeah.
that situation with the success the offensive team had up to this game, it says go for it. But you gotta get a real good feel for the game. You know, Dan
Yeah.
Quinn made a decision. He rode with it. And I mean, I'm sure today he's probably kicking himself, but at the same time, you have to, when those kind of games, when you have a chance maybe to seize momentum, you know,
Yeah.
it was either going to be Washington sees it or it's going to be Philadelphia that sees it. And Philadelphia got it done because third down, that was a heck of a stop. And fourth down was just, you know, amazing. Just watching the quarterback bobble the ball, and then all of a sudden, you know, the play would comes unglued because I think it was doomed from the beginning. So it's just you got to make those tough decisions, and they tried it and didn't work.
100%. Amanda, I think momentum is so tricky in this sport. And after that turnover on downs, it seemed like all the momentum went to Philly's side and they never gave it back.
Yeah, I get wanting to keep the momentum going and going for the touchdown, but in that situation, if it's gonna give you the lead,
Yeah,
I
I
would always
know.
take the points. And Alex
Yeah.
and I are big, I wouldn't say haters of the analytics crew, but there are
Mhm.
situations when analytics, like I love statistics, I love my numbers, I love my historical like stats, like how many times these teams have matched up. I love all that stuff. But when you're in the game, if it's going to lead to a turnover on downs and you're going to lose a game by 2 points and it's a 3 point option, like take the points.
I don't disagree, but yeah, but I think you both get it. You know, they didn't think they were going to lose that way.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
they
the
didn't.
Eagles hadn't woken up. They played a
Right.
second half of the game. They did not show up in the first half. And another
Absolutely.
thing this season, we're seeing a lot of first half sleepers. Like
Yes.
you can't tell what's going to go on in a football game at the halftime anymore. Like it
Hmm.
used to be like, oh, we made it to the half. I'll switch games. Like, I don't know. Like it's a completely different, like the Lions game we talked about.
Hmm.
That was a completely different team from the first half to the second half. The Eagles too, they woke up in the second half. I get maybe it's for player safety or something where they're just sleeping through half of the football game and then they're, actually lacing up their cleats, but it's a weird season for that.
Well, Hugh, I think halftime adjustments are so important, right? Is that a big opportunity for a coach to make adjustments and get the mindset right for a second half?
Oh, absolutely. I think the real good coaches, and it's really the coordinators, right? I mean, the head coaches, they push the message, but the coordinators are the guys who are putting the plans together for the second half, you know, and making those quick adjustments. And the head coach has a lot of input, don't get me wrong. But I think when you can, the guys who are really good at it, you see the difference in the second half, you know, a la the Detroit Lions, a
Mhm.
Yeah.
la last night, the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, and there's been a host of teams this year. And that makes a huge difference to a football team, you know. And so when you can score in the second half, you know, of games, when teams are trending in the right direction in the second half, that means there's a good coaching staff there.
Yeah. Well, a huge win for the Eagles last night. 6 game winning streak. They're coming on at the right time. And, I had a feeling that they were going to bounce back this year and go on a playoff run here. So we'll see if they can keep this up. But nice to see the Eagles back firing on all cylinders. Let's get into these picks. Amanda, 7-3 Ravens at the 7-2 Steelers. Huge game in the AFC North. Steelers come in on a 4 game winning streak. How do you see this one going in Pittsburgh? I love this rivalry.
I love it too. I just feel like the Ravens are so hot right now. Like Lamar Jackson, I mean, his past 8 games, he's 7-1, 22 touchdown passes, only one interception. So I feel like they're gonna come into this one hot, and I think they'll pull off a win. But the Steelers have been the best team at containing him so far in his
Hmm.
career. He's 1-3
Yeah.
against Pittsburgh. So against them in his career, he's got 4 touchdown passes and 7 interceptions. He's been sacked 20 times. So this matchup haunts him. So
Mhm.
I think the Ravens will pull it off, but I don't think they're taking it lightly at all.
Yeah, and if the Steelers do contain Derrick Henry, then that puts more pressure on Lamar, and we know he's capable of carrying a team on his back. Hugh, how do you see this game going? I can't wait for this matchup.
Well, I can't wait neither. I think it's one of the premier games of this weekend.
Hmm.
But when I think through it, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh, and I tell you why. I think Baltimore's defense has not been what I think it normally is. For
Yep.
whatever the reasons are, it hasn't trended in that direction yet. And not having Cal Hamilton is going to be tough for them. And I think Russell Wilson's starting to come on. the plays he made this past week at the end of the game to win the game against Washington, against the Commanders. I just think when you factor in these things, playing at home, really good defense, two really good defensive football teams, it's going to be who has a history of stopping the other. And I think Pittsburgh has stopped Baltimore more than Baltimore stopped Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with you.
I was very on the fence with this one. Like I could talk myself into picking either way. I mean, like look at the Steelers so far with Russ at the helm this season. I mean, 230 passing yards per game, 30 points per game. Meanwhile, the Ravens are allowing a league worst 294.9 passing yards per game. Like
Wow.
I can see this getting out of hand. But I think the Ravens are finally like getting into the stride and where I thought they would be this season. So I'm gonna roll with them and just kind of I think I'm getting a little too comfortable in my pick lead, but I'm gonna stick with the Ravens on this one.
You're going Ravens. In
Uh,
Pittsburgh, it's a tough one.
it is.
I mean, just because like we have to have some games
Knew it.
against each other, I think I'm gonna go Steelers. I ride with you on this one. I'm a Ravens fan. I mean, the Bears are losing me by the week, uh, and but Hugh had some great points. I mean, and this is a rivalry game where you never know what's gonna happen. You know, it's
Yeah,
gonna be hard fought, but you just never know. So I'll go Steelers here with Hugh. Amanda go with the Ravens, but I could see this game going either way.
same. Like I could easily talk myself like it's gonna be a good game. I'm excited about this matchup either way. Whatever happens, I think these teams are gonna be very well matched.
And it's a great opportunity for the Steelers to get to 8-2 and drop the Ravens to 7-4. You know, whoever wins this division, that's a huge accomplishment as well. Let's go Packers at Bears. It's me and Amanda's hate week. We can't be friends
Right?
this week.
But you don't even care about the Bears. Like I can't like Alex is like, oh, we're not supposed to like each other. I'm like, you don't even like the Bears. Like he's picking the Packers in this game. Like what? I'm not gonna be mean to like the stunted growth little brother. Like, no, we gotta take care of him. Like, no, I
Well, new offensive coordinator Shane Waldron's out of here. Maybe this guy can provide a spark. Thomas Brown and Hugh. Last year, Thomas Brown took over as offensive play caller for the Panthers. His best performance and the Panthers' best performance came against the Packers, a 33-30 loss. One of Bryce Young hasn't had a lot of great games. That was one of the games where he played better. Do you think Thomas Brown can provide a spark for this struggling Bears offense against Green Bay?
I hope he can.
Yeah.
And I hope that just for him personally,
Yeah.
that's a tough spot to be in because it's not only are you becoming the play caller, but you're becoming the play caller for the number one draft pick in the
Mm-hmm.
National Football League, and that's what everybody's watching. And so I just think that's a tough spot to be in, and hopefully he handles it well because he's been there. I mean, we all as fans, you look and say, well, wait a minute. You've been there as the pass game coordinator, so what's gonna change, right?
Yeah.
So for him, I hope it does pick up, production picks up, the quarterback plays better, they play better, but I don't see them beating the pack. That's for sure.
Yeah,
yeah, there's
as
a
much as I am optimistic and hope that he can provide a spark, and I think it might actually be closer than people think. Like, I could see this game being hard fought. Jordan Love throws a couple interceptions, something like that. But even as a Bears fan, I can't pick Chicago here, Amanda. Green Bay is so
I
much
told
of a
him
better
to. I was
team.
like, we're gonna pick two similar this week. You gotta take the Bears or something.
You take the Bears
No
then.
way. I can't. But it's funny, there's so many streaks going into this game. So the Packers haven't started with an 0-3 division start since '05. Um,
Wow.
this would be the first time since then. Second longest streak behind the Patriots, who haven't gone 0-3 in the division since '94. Bears over here were on a 23 consecutive drives without a touchdown. So they could break that, you know. And then during this last 3 game losing streak for the Bears, they're dead last in points, yards per play, third down conversion rate, and touchdowns. They're 2-10 in NFC North games under Flus, which I know Alex is a huge fan of
Oh my
Eberflus over
God.
here.
Fire
Um,
that
and
guy.
there's I mean Jordan Love's on a 7 game interception streak. Like there's just so much bad in this game coming
Yeah.
into it. So many streaks. Longest single season streak by a Packers player since Favre in '05. Like I love it. I expect this to be a shit show. I expect the Bears to definitely continue that interception streak for Jordan Love, but I think the Packers will pull it off. I'm thinking maybe a McKinney pick or two in this one, kind of get them back on their feet. But hopefully
And,
Thomas Brown does something because this team is making the rest of the division look bad. And we've had a great season so far as a division.
well, I think part of it too is Matt Eberflus is the defensive guy, right? And I think he's lost the locker room, especially the defensive side. And they got ran on against New England and Arizona, and they're just not the same defense that gave us hope. And then on top of it, Hugh Jaquan Brisker, that concussion hasn't played since the first week of October, and now they put him on IR. It sounds like it's pretty bad. So I'm rooting for Brisker, but I just don't have much faith in this defense right now either.
No,
You
I
got
get it.
you,
Yeah.
so
I
we're
know
all
I
going
get it. I
Packers, right?
totally get it. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it's gonna be one of those games, but when you peel all the layers back, the Packers should win this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a
Yeah.
single player on the Bears who, as a Bears player, has beaten the Packers. Zero.
Yeah.
And another thing that kind of sucks for Green Bay coming into this one, besides the interception streak, is Marshawn Lloyd was supposed to come back from his IR from his ankle injury. Woke up
Mhm.
with appendicitis this morning. He's having an emergency appendectomy this weekend. So now they got to
Oh,
figure out because they've got 21 days to either end his season or bring him back. And they're like, well, how long does appendectomy surgery recovery take? So the Packers have had some bad luck this season.
mhm.
So I could see the Bears just destroying my hopes and dreams in this one. But I guess we'll see.
No, if this team was even somewhat together still, I would give them a shot. But they've lost the locker room. They haven't beat the Packers in 10 straight. And as a Bears fan, it's so frustrating because that's your number one rival. You have to be at least competitive against your biggest rival. And this is why it goes well beyond the coaching staff. Get the GM out of here. Man, sell the team. I'm not repping this team anymore. So let's move on. Let's stop talking about the Bears. Let's
They should
go
move
to
to St. Louis.
2-8 Jags at the 8-1 Lions. No Trevor Lawrence, so Mac Jones will again start. Hugh, Jared Goff, as great as he's been playing, an MVP candidate going into last week, 5 interceptions.
And
The Jags
still
also
win. And
still won.
still win.
See, that's what matters. You can have a bad day and still pull off they're a whole team. Like if it was a situation like back in the day with the Packers, like where Aaron Rodgers was having an MVP season, he threw 5 picks, the game was lost by 20 points.
Yeah.
The fact that they're just such a whole complete team, they still pull off a win, like that was impressive.
Yeah. The Jags did pick off Sam Darnold 3 times last week. I'm not expecting much out of their offense with Mac McCorkle Jones leading the way. Hugh, do you think any chance for Jacksonville? I mean, I could see Goff with a couple more turnovers, but at the end of the day, I agree with you. It's like they can turn the ball over and still win.
No, no doubt. They're that talented.
Mm-hmm.
They're that team this year. They've made the next jump. The quarterback is still the key to it all. But very, very honestly, when I look at this game, I don't think it's going to be close. I think Jacksonville is, again, trying to find themselves. In Detroit, they playing against a really good Detroit football team.
Yeah, and Amanda, we got Zadarius Smith making his Lions debut as well.
And you talked a little bit about teams losing the locker room and stuff. Nothing Dan Campbell has done over the past week and a half would have anyone on that team lose faith in him. The
Yeah.
situation with the Zadarius Smith. So bringing him in, he could have started last week, but they gave him an extra week because it was his Cleveland bye week when he was traded over. And he wanted to go down and check on his family and the property in Florida and see how everything was going. So they didn't activate him to give him time to do that. And he
Yeah.
still showed up to the game. Like that shows how well this organization is interacting and prioritizing their players. And I mean, this team is just playing so cohesively right now. Like if you watch the halftime speeches that Dan Campbell gives, I would go to war for that man. Like his speeches have been so good. And that's just the exact opposite of the situation with like the Bears and some of these other locker rooms. They're behind the coach and they're trying to win for their coach and for the team. And I love that.
Yep. So Lions 7-game winning streak, and I think we all expect it to be 8. So we're all taking the Lions at home. to get the win over Jacksonville. Let's go to 7-2 Vikings at the 2-7 Titans. And Sam Darnold with some recent turnover issues, 6 turnovers in the last 2 games, dealing with a throwing hand injury. Hugh, any chance in Nashville, the Titans, I know they've been struggling, they're 2-7, but the Vikings aren't coming in very hot either. Any chance the Titans can steal this one at home?
No, I think the Vikings win. I think Sam plays better.
Yeah.
I think the Titans spirit is a little crushed right now,
Yeah.
and I just think the Vikings know they gotta to stay in it, they gotta keep winning. Because Detroit is Detroit, and the Pack at the end of the day is still the Pack. So
Yeah.
they got to find a way to stay in this race and be competitive, and they know this game is so important.
Amanda, I know you'd love to see a Vikings loss. Any hope here?
No, the Vikings have been playing so well against this AFC South. They won the first 2 matchups, even though Darnold had 3 turnovers in both games.
Yeah.
I don't think they stand a chance. And Justin Jefferson has gone 3 straight games without a receiving touchdown, and he is ready to go. So I see them really trying to utilize him in this one, and I just don't see this Tennessee defense being able to do much about it.
My prediction here is I trust both defenses. I think the Titans do take the ball away from Sam Darnold a couple times, but I think that I
Do
trust
they
Brian
take it or
Flores.
does he give it to them?
Yeah, both. Like
I
I
don't know if
don't
they
have a
have to
lot of
try that
faith.
hard.
I don't have much faith in Darnold right now, but also Brian Flores is going to take the ball away from Will Levis likely as well.
Yeah,
So
well, we can't have Darnold improving to go with your narrative of Aaron Rodgers coming in next year and joining the Vikings when Darnold continues to decline for the rest of the season. We got to do the Favre character arc, you know.
yeah,
So
Hugh, it's already been written. Rodgers to the Vikings next year, right?
Yes, let's go.
yeah, we're just like slowly watching the demise of Sam Darnold over here, just waiting for the news to break in the offseason at this point.
Let's go Raiders at Dolphins. The 2-7 Raiders at the 3-6 Dolphins. Gardner Minshew to start for Vegas. Jalen Ramsey, optimistic he can play in this one. Dolphins got a big win last week. An opportunity to get on a little 2-game winning streak here. They've been playing better ever since Tua got back. You believing in the Dolphins, Hugh?
Oh, that's a hard one for me. I
Yeah.
love that the changes that Antonio Pierce made.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just listening. He brought in a new offense coordinator. The Joe Philbin's now going to coach the line, who's a former Packer. And so you got Norv Turner back in there. So I think
Yeah.
they're going to play better offensively. But I still think Miami is they're starting to click. My
Mm-hmm.
concern is Tua, and it will be my concern the whole year. When will the next hit take him out?
Yeah.
And you gotta understand in this game, you're gonna get hit. Max Crosby is gonna get back there. That's
Yeah.
just what he does. And so, if I think I'm gonna take the Raiders in this one.
Okay. In Miami,
In
how do you see
Miami.
it going, Amanda? I mean, Tua's got to stay healthy, and we'll see if the Raiders can provide a spark. And Tyreek Hill, his numbers are kind of down, dealing with a wrist injury as well.
Yeah, I was really on the fence with this one. I wrote it and rewrote it about 3 times. There has been a lot of change in the Raiders organization. I mean, like you mentioned, OC, quarterbacks coach, offensive line coach. I just don't know if they've had enough time to make all those adjustments and get used to the new thing. Minshew said it's kind of the same bone, same general idea, just a little bit different flavor. Like
Mhm.
they didn't change any players. Like the players are all still doing their thing. So I'm intrigued to see how those shifts with coaching kind of play out. I don't.
One other thing I want to mention about this game, I believe the Raiders are coming off their bye, and
Mhm.
Yes.
the Dolphins
Yeah.
played on Monday night, so it's a short week for the Dolphins and an extra week for the Raiders. That might play into this a little bit.
If it weren't for that, I would have like been decided on the Dolphins here in Miami. The home game situation would have helped there. But I don't know. The Dolphins defense played really well against the Rams last
Yeah.
week with Matt Stafford pressured 15 times. I think I'm gonna roll with the Dolphins, but I could easily see this one going either way.
Yeah, getting Zach Seiler back was big for them. I'm going to go Dolphins at home as well, just talent wise. But we'll see. I mean, I do think this is going to be a hard fought, close game. So
Mhm.
we'll see how it goes. Amanda, 4-5 Rams at the 3-7 Patriots. In Foxborough, a chance it could be a little cold and nasty. How are you seeing this one?
I got the Rams here just because I just don't trust the Patriots to do anything. But Stafford is on a 6-game interception streak, second longest in the NFL besides, his old opponent team. Like
Mhm.
I don't know here. Kyron Williams has been very hot and cold. There are some games when they don't get him rolling, but the days where he does,
Yeah.
um, he has ridiculous games. And the Pats defense really struggles to stop the run. So I think the Rams will be able to pull this one off and just kind of carry the game on the ground here.
Yeah, Hugh, do you think New England's blowout win over the Bears was just how bad the Bears are? Or do you think the Patriots are starting to play better football?
I think it's a combination of both. I think they're getting a little bit better. I think
Mm-hmm.
Drake May is getting better. I've said earlier they have some really good, talented defensive pieces,
Yeah.
and they play well. They're physical. They get after it. I'm concerned that their size and length might be a problem for the Rams,
Mm-hmm.
because they're a very physical group in their front seven. So they're at home. I think I'm gonna go with the Patriots in this one.
I'm gonna go Patriots too. Me and Amanda need some picks. I told Amanda that I'm gonna gain 4 games on her this week, so I gotta have at least 4 we disagree on. Let's go Patriots at home, and get another game on Amanda here.
All right.
How
Not even
about
gonna
two?
argue. You do you, boo.
If I'm down 14 or 15 games, I'm gonna be so mad. 2-7 Browns at the 3-7 Saints. Jameis Winston against his old team. But Hugh, the interim coach Darren Rizzi, providing a spark, getting a big win over Atlanta last week. You think he can get on a winning streak here at home?
Oh, I think he can. I mean, again, they have talented players. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when you look across the board, they have some players that have had real success in real time football. So I'm not surprised. And the Browns got to travel. Jameis Winston has been known to turn it over a few times.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that will be what the Saints are counting on. I'm going to go with the Saints.
We'll see if your boy Marquez Valdez Scantling can go off again this week, Amanda.
Hmm.
I
She doesn't like him.
despise just this man drops more ball. He is the most unreliable receiver, but then you get him in a postseason game and he'll make the play of the season to win a game. But during the
He's had
regular
such
season, you
great
cannot count
quarterback
on
play
him.
too.
What?
Josh Allen, Mahomes, Rodgers. He's had elite quarterback play.
Ridiculous. And he keeps finding jobs. Like he'll lose a game for a team, like a big game, and then someone else was like, "Oh, well, you had that one dope play 2 years ago." Like he makes me crazy. I cannot stand to watch him. But it's fine. Like good for him. I don't know. This game's interesting. I mean the Browns are coming back from a bye week. They've been focusing on defensive communication after those two deep touchdown passes they let go against the Chargers. The Saints had a great game last week. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really
Surprisingly.
back and forth on this one. I feel like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints, I guess. There's a lot of like really close matchups this week. So I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna pick New Orleans here.
Saints at home. Hugh, you said Saints?
Yes.
All right. Let's go Browns. Browns for the win. Another opportunity to catch Amanda in the standings. All
Alex is
right.
gonna be down 20. All right, cool.
Another tough game to pick. The 4-6 Colts at the 3-7 Jets. Here comes Indy on a 3-game losing streak, but they're going back to the young quarterback Anthony Richardson. Devontae Adams expected to play for the Jets, but they'll be without C.J. Mosley and Tyron Smith. And the Jets coming off a blowout loss to Cardinals. Their backs are really against the wall. They need to practically just straight up win out for a chance to make the playoffs. Hugh, how do you see this one going? Colts at Jets.
I think Richardson's back,
Yeah.
which it concerns me sometimes just because of his completion percentage, but he makes
Yeah.
plays. He's going to make some splash plays in the game. Will they be touchdowns? I just think the Jets might be done. They
Yeah.
just might be done. And so I'm going to take the Colts in this one.
All right. Yeah. What do you think, Amanda?
This one's blank on my sheet. It's just I don't know who either of these teams are.
Yeah.
Week to week, these teams have completely different personalities. And both of them, I mean, the Jets will show up and do some cool stuff, and we'll have vintage Aaron Rodgers in one game, and then they put up 3 points the next week. Um, I mean, Devontae
I'm,
Adams, 51 catch percentage this season. What happened to that chemistry? That's the second worst in the NFL since week 7 of the season. Like, how? They know
yeah.
each
If
other.
it's,
Like, there's the whole reason you brought him in. So I expect the Jets to piss me off and have a resurgence in this game, chemistry, and just win this game just because I think that they're done, because that's what they're gonna do here just to prove me wrong. So I think I'm gonna pick the Jets just because I'm over them, and in my mind, I want to stop picking them, but Aaron Rodgers is gonna piss me off here. I just have a feeling.
no, I'm going Jets as well. They're desperate. This is their last shot. If they lose another game, they're done. And then at that point, you're going to see players like opting for surgery and ending the season and all that. So I think the Jets find a way to get a win here, keep hope alive for one more week. We'll see how long it lasts. But yeah, Anthony Richardson's completion percentage and struggles, he does make some big plays, but that Jets defense, I think, will play better in
Yeah.
this one. And so I'm going to take the Jets at home.
Does anybody else
Um,
think the Colts locker room has whiplash at this point? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, make a choice and stick with it, y'all. Jesus.
well, that's Shane Steichen for you.
Oh, he
Colts
makes me
Colts
crazy.
need to get a real head coach over there. Hugh, 6-4 Falcons at the 5-5 Broncos. We'll see if Younghoe Koo can kick the right way this week. How are you seeing this one in Denver? I like the Broncos defense here.
I love the Broncos defense. I love Vance Joseph, personal friend, does a great, great job. But I think the Falcons are a good football team. I really
Yeah.
do. I think the coach has done a great job. I think the quarterback, gives them a chance. I think they're going to spread this ball around, and I'm going to take the Falcons in this one.
Okay. How are you seeing it, Amanda? Atlanta or Denver at home?
I'm sticking with Atlanta here. Denver looks so good against the Chiefs. They lost on an awesome special teams play by that Kansas City pulling off a win like they always do. But the Falcons defense concerns me. Bo Nix is having a great season. The Falcons have allowed the highest completion percentage to opposing quarterbacks, 70%. Worst quarterback pressure percentage, fewest sacks in the league. I just think it's going to be a week for Denver to kind of bounce back after that really heart-wrenching loss. Like, they almost wrecked the Chiefs' perfect season. Like,
They should
they
have.
wanted that so bad. So I
I
feel like they're
wanted
going
it
to come
so
into this
bad.
one scrappy. Everyone wanted it. Let's be honest. Every single person who's not a Chiefs fan wanted that shit.
Yeah.
So I just think they're going to come in this ready to bounce back from that. And Atlanta's defense really concerns me.
So you going Broncos? I'm going Broncos as well. The Falcons' lack of pass rush concerns me, and Bo Nix has the ability to, use his legs. And then he's got Cortland Sutton. They got a running game, and I trust Sean Payton to not let that terrible loss, the way it ended against Kansas City, to not roll in, make one loss become two. I think Sean Payton will get that nipped in the butt. Denver will play well and get a win at home. In Atlanta, we'll see. We'll see if Koo can bounce back and have a better game. Amanda, 4-5 Seahawks at the 5-4 49ers. We'll see if Jake Moody can bounce back after struggling, missing 3 field goals, but he did hit the game winner. Rivalry game against Seattle. Christian McCaffrey's back, providing a spark for the Niners. Niners at home, right, Amanda?
Yeah, I have to. Seattle's just been so inconsistent. And with McCaffrey back, Brock Purdy's played really well against Seattle. I don't see this one shifting momentum for them. I think they're headed in the right direction, and Seattle just seems like they're kind of falling apart.
Yeah, I think the Niners are going to get rolling here and go on a run going into the playoffs, get hot. Do you agree, Hugh? You got Niners?
Absolutely. Niners win this game.
Yeah. Yeah, we all agree on that one. Then the big game. Amanda's been waiting all episode to talk about this one. The 9-0 Chiefs at the 8-2 Bills. Buffalo on a 5-game winning streak. Kansas City on a 15-game winning streak. My concern here for both teams, Amanda, Harrison Butker, the Chiefs' reliable kicker, out, placed on IR. So they got undrafted rookie Spencer Schrader. That could be a weakness for the Chiefs. But for Buffalo, two huge losses here. No Dalton Kincaid and no Keon Coleman. Does that affect your pick here?
No, just because the Chiefs have gotten so close to losing so many times.
Yeah,
Like, I know it
someone's got
isn't
to
all
beat him.
luck. They have
Yeah,
two games that they've won by more than one score. But other than that, I mean, Isaiah likely toe on the line away from the Ravens winning. Week two, pass interference penalty, fourth down with less than a minute left. Kind of suspicious call there.
yeah,
Uh,
the Zebras.
the Falcons on 4th and 1 on the 13 with under a minute to go in week three. Like I can go on. There's so many plays like that chip shot that we already talked about at the end of the Denver game.
Yep,
Um, there have been 34 teams in NFL history who have started the season 9-0. Kansas City's point differential this season is the absolute lowest
yeah,
of those 34 teams. They have barely squeaked by with wins. And I mean, it was the Broncos last week that almost beat them. I think the Bills are leagues ahead of the Broncos. So I've got the Bills here. And even with the Kincaid issue and the receiving core situation for the Bills, I think Dawson Knox is a number one tight end. He's been a number one before. The only reason he's taken a step back and been kind of shifted to a blocking position is because Dalton Kincaid is just that good. So
yep.
I think they'll be okay, and I think the Bills can pull this one off.
Feed James Cook. You got Khalil Shakir. We're hopeful Amari Cooper can play. Hugh, I'm going Bills here as well. Someone's got to beat the Chiefs at some point. And this is my personal belief. The Bills can beat the Chiefs in the regular season. They can do that. They've done it before. We know that Josh Allen can get that win. They just can't do it in January when it matters most. Bills at home here, Hugh. Do you agree with me and Amanda?
No.
I
So
knew it.
first, let's talk about that Broncos game, Amanda. I will tell you those division games are really tough. They know
Yeah,
each other extremely well. And, even though they're not in the same division, I think Kansas City knows Buffalo just as well. Those two teams know each other. They're always competing, whether it's to go to the next round in the playoffs. And so they
yeah,
played each other. I think these quarterbacks are the keys to the game. And
yeah,
I just cannot. I mean, I've been right on this team every week. I
yeah.
will not bet against Patrick Mahomes. And I know Isaiah Pacheco returns. I think he's going to give him a little spark. I think, the fact that Patrick understands, boy, can I get to 10-0? And I know we talk about the point differential, not being great, but that's what really good teams do. They
Yeah.
know how to win when winning time comes. And that's what this team has demonstrated this year.
Well, two streaks are on the line here, Hugh, for the Chiefs. They're trying to break records at an incredible level. They're trying to beat the Patriots 21 straight wins. They're trying to go 17-0, and they're trying to three-peat. Do you think this team is really capable of all that? I think at some point, I think they're going to get one or two losses in the regular season.
No, I totally agree with that. I don't see
Yeah.
them winning out because
Yeah.
I just think at some point in time, Andy Reid's going to rest some guys. You
Okay.
have to. These guys have played so much football. When you
Yeah.
go to the Super Bowl, you've played a lot of football. So
Yeah.
I get it. But that's what I'm saying. When you're good like that and they're still continuing to win,
Mm-hmm.
there's a mix that they have with Spagnola and Andy Reid and a special teams coordinator, and they keep plugging in these players, from all. I mean, they had the best secondary a year ago, and they
Yeah.
trade the guy away, and they
Yeah,
playing
they're
good
top
now.
dog.
So
Yeah.
it's something that they understand better than most, and it's worked. But I think the biggest thing they understand is that guy that plays quarterback for them.
Yeah.
Quick conspiracy theory. I feel like just real quick. So the Bills in their past three regular season matchups against Kansas City are 3-0. Josh Allen is Superman in those games. Like he comes alive. Like he is
Yeah.
averaging 292 passing yards per game, nine touchdowns, only one interception. Meanwhile, Mahomes, six interceptions in those same three games. I feel like Mahomes does this shit on purpose and purposely loses to them just so he
Yeah,
has that extra little bit of motivation in the postseason to beat
I
him.
could see that.
That's some like he would
Mind
like.
games.
I
Yeah,
can, I mean, I can see that a little, but this guy is not built like that. I
Oh,
don't
I
believe.
know. I don't
I
actually
know
mean
you. I
it,
know you
but
said conspiracy theory.
it's suspicious. I'm just
This
saying.
guy
He's like, oh,
is
we got our
such
butts
a,
kicked. Just kidding. It's the postseason now.
but he uses those things. I mean, the
yeah,
great players uses those type of things for motivation. You're absolutely right about that. But I just think he is cementing himself as being one of the greatest to ever play the position. And you're 9-0, boy. You sit there during the week. I never forget when I was in Cincinnati and we were 8-0. In 2015, and wow, can we get to 9-0? We lost to the Houston Texans on a Monday night, 10-6. I'll never forget that. But the quarterback is the driver. And if he has that motivation, he's going to pass it down to the rest of the team. And this thing about getting to 10-0, we don't know behind the scenes. These guys might be talking about, if we can get to 12-0, we can start resting a whole bunch of guys for the duration of the season because we have clinched the playoff spot and probably home field advantage. So there's
yeah,
a lot in this,
yeah.
that I think
You don't
guys
think
think
Josh
through.
Allen is just as motivated?
Yes, no, boy, let me tell you,
He-
Amanda, he's probably more motivated.
yeah,
And you
This
said
is
because
the nemesis. This is his
he wants
big
to beat him
boss.
every chance he walks out there
Mhm.
against him because this is the guy that stops him from having championships.
yeah,
Every single year.
Yes.
yeah.
And I like the way you say that.
Mm.
Well, I mean, and I think a key to this game also is slowing down Travis Kelsey. Quietly, he's gone absolutely crazy the last 3 games, 32
Mhm.
catches and 2 touchdowns. And if you can limit Kelsey, you might have. I think that might be enough. But if you allow him to go off like he's been doing the last 3 games, then the Chiefs are going to win this. But we're
Let's
going
go, D
Bills.
Hop. Let's go, D Hop. Let's
Yeah, there
go.
you go.
Here we come.
Me and Amanda got the Bills. Hugh's got the Chiefs. We'll see if the Chiefs can keep it rolling. This is best game of the weekend for sure. But also an underrated game. I can't wait for this one either. Sunday night football. The 4-6 Bengals at the 6-3 Chargers. I've been talking a lot of shit about how I believe in the Chargers quickly rebuilding this season, going into the playoffs, winning a playoff game. If they get this one, they'll be 7-3 with a 4-game winning streak. But the Bengals are absolutely desperate. And this is the type of the year when Joe Burrow becomes Superman and leads the Bengals, from that slow start into the playoffs. Amanda, how do you see this game going in LA at SoFi?
I've got the Chargers here. They're at home. That defense has been stepping up. They're doing a little bit better, but they are first in NFL in points allowed per game.
Yeah, that
So I do
defense.
have some questions about that. But Joe Burrow is very hot and cold this season. I'm not really sure who he's going to be week to week, which has been frustrating with me because my picks for the Bengals, like they've been my worst team this season for picks. I'm wrong 95% of the time with them. I don't know who they are, who they're going to be, which version of their team's going to show up. Um, but I have faith in Quentin Johnson in this one. He's been warming up and I mean, I think the matchup with him and Cam Taylor-Britt is going to be very beneficial for him. Um, I, yeah, I just think it's going to be a great matchup there. And Herbert has been utilized more. I feel like the team has been relying on him more to get moving on the ground, trusting him a bit more in his past, 4 or 5 weeks. They just seem to be giving him a little bit more leash, I guess.
Yeah,
So
Harbaugh's doing a great job with them.
yeah, he's done so good because I thought he was falling off a little bit over the past couple of years. So it's nice to see him kind of like getting back into the routine. And I know you love the Harbaugh move there. I think it's been a really good fit. So
Yeah,
Chargers here if that defense shows up.
yeah, I think he's done a great job of not. They used to ask Harbaugh to throw the ball 40, 50, 60 times a game, and now they're like so much more balanced and play through the strengths of their team, the defense, the running game. QT Higgins is back, though. Is that going to provide a spark? This Bengals offense is capable of dropping 40 on anybody.
Oh, absolutely. And I have to give you a lot of credit, Alice, because you did pick the Chargers early in the year and say they were going to have a run, and I didn't see it because I didn't think they had enough talent in the
Yeah.
receiver room.
Yeah, that's
But they
still,
found a way, and that's
yeah,
kudos to their staff for finding a way to score points,
Yeah, they
and they
don't have
have
a
a
lot of big names.
yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
And we know they have a good quarterback. But like you said,
Yeah.
we know they don't have a lot of big names in that room. But they're making plays and they're getting their name noticed now. But I
Yeah.
just think it's the Bengals' time. I
Yeah.
think they know this is a make or break game for them. They
Yeah.
got to win this game. And I think Joey Burrow's going to go play like he played last week, lights out. He's going to play like you've never seen him play before. And I think they're going to go win this game.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I can't wait for this matchup, and we'll see how it goes. But the part of the reason I'm like kind of a Ravens fan now, I'm really close to becoming a Chargers fan because they hired a real head coach. I was pounding the table, I was tweeting as much as possible. Bears hired Jim Harbaugh, and they refused to even call the dude, the national champion Michigan head coach. Didn't even
Mhm.
call him, and you stick with Eberflus. What a joke! Let's
The
go
only
Chargers.
thing getting Harbaugh out of Michigan, because he loved coaching at Michigan, was going to be some nice weather though. So I don't know how you thought that was going to work.
Right.
Harbaugh doesn't give a damn about nice weather. He played in Chicago. Get out of here, Amanda. You're just happy that the Bears have a terrible coaching staff. I see what you're doing.
I don't know if a coaching staff could help him this year, honestly.
Coaching is everything. Hugh can attest to that.
Yes, it is. At this
Uh,
level,
Mon-
it definitely is.
yeah, Monday Night Football. I don't know how good of a matchup this is going to be. The 6-4 Texans at the 3-6 Cowboys. Dallas on a 4-game losing streak. Houston also on a 2-game losing streak. Dak Prescott done for the year. Nico Collins expected to return for Houston. I think the Texans are mad with how they played and blowing that game to Detroit. I think the Texans blow Dallas out. I don't think this game is close. Amanda, do you agree?
Absolutely. The Texans haven't been playing poorly. They just got outplayed in the second half. They've been doing okay. They've had a solid season. Their defense really failed them in the second half of that game. And yeah, they're coming with a chip on their shoulder and they're ready to make up for those losses.
Hugh, are you buying the Cooper Rush Cowboys?
No, I'm buying the you know what? I really think Stroud is gonna play lights out.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna really take it to another level in this game. This is the Battle of Texas.
yeah,
Here we go. So I think they understand that, and Micah Parsons, the kind of conversations they had, about what team, who was the best in Dallas, I think it's going to show come that night. And I really believe the Texans will win.
yeah. I wish we had a healthy Dak Prescott. It'd be a great game if both teams were healthy and all that. But I think a lot of talk has been about losing Stephon Diggs and how that slowed the Texans' offense. To me, I
Mhm.
think Nico Collins is the bigger deal, and getting
Yes.
him back is going to provide a huge spark for CJ
Mhm.
Stroud and those guys. So
Well, and
we agree.
Mixon in this game. I mean,
Yeah,
that defensive front on the Cowboys is 30th in run stop win rate. Like Mixon's gonna have 150 yards plus in this game if they
yeah,
play like they've been playing. Like yeah, I think it's gonna get nasty.
yep. Well, I can't wait. Week 11 is going to be awesome. Thanks, Hugh, for taking the time to come back on the show. It's always awesome.
All right.
And yeah, we'll see how we do in our picks. I have a feeling I'm going to gain a lot of ground on Amanda this week. What do you think, Hugh?
I think you got a chance, but I don't know about a lot of ground.
Mm. Tell him, Hugh, tell him.
You guys take care.
Yeah, we
All
appreciate
right.
everyone for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and have a great week, guys. Peace out.